Hello, and welcome to Pressing Buttons. I'm Hugo,
I'm Nick.
and we're here at you again. Another week, another great episode. Yeah, baby, we're back.
Dude, you butchered your own catchphrase.
That's it. Oh, yeah. Another great week. Another great episode.
Is this now just a normal week?
It's two great. It was an all right week. It was a slow week. But it is another great week, another great episode of Pressing Buttons coming at you. We're back. We did take a little break for the holiday, little Thanksgiving break, which we'll probably do again for Christmas, especially because it's on a weekend. But thanks for bearing with us. We kept everybody updated on Discord and on Twitter that we were going to take a little break, and we appreciate it. But that was also good because it gave a lot of people a chance to catch up on all our wonderful episodes, because we got such a heavy catalog this year. Our first year in, and 43 episodes, man.
2,000 minutes of content.
There you go. Yeah. Which
big number.
Yeah. We wanted to jump in and do a little house cleaning. Is it housekeeping? Housekeeping. Same thing. And we wanted to thank all of our loyal listeners. Spotify is throwing out the rat for the year for people's playlists and songs or whatever that they listen to. And since we upload our podcast through Anchor, which is also done by Spotify, they also do a rap for the podcast. So we want to throw some numbers. You guys know I love me some numbers and some demographics and all that shit because it gets me hyped. So we were in the top 25 most shared globally podcasts. So thank you guys for sharing us.
Top 25%.
Yeah, we're big guys.
There's a big difference.
We're big.
Yeah, big difference.
Yeah, but we're big. We're big.
Yeah.
We're also 52% of our listeners follow the podcast. So thank you. Thank you for listening to me in my outros when I say don't forget to follow and like. Thank you for that. And then the one last stat was we are number one podcast for 14 people. We're in the top 5 for 32. And we're in the top 10 for 37. So you know what that means. That means people like us. And I know Nick over here was a little bit hesitant to share these numbers because he's like, they're just numbers. And he's a hater. But I was like, they're numbers that are...
I literally never said to not share the numbers.
You literally laughed at it. I was like, I got to share these numbers. You're like, oh, they're not that great.
I mean, I laughed at it. But that doesn't mean that we can't share it. Like, I don't give a shit.
Listen, man, I went across on Twitter Jeff Gerstrom, who was a very popular writer for Giant Bomb, I think, and then he branched off to his own thing. He's top 1% in the most shared globally, so we're top 25. Only a 24% difference. We're catching up, baby. So these numbers only progress. They're going to be better next year.
And it excludes YouTube. So that's a good caveat there. That's just Spotify, or basically all the audio podcast, right?
Yeah. So we're up there, baby. We're big in the Spotify gaming market, or leisure, as this thing likes to call us.
Yeah, I gotta talk to somebody about that. I don't like that label. Yeah. There's nothing leisurely about this podcast experience.
There's
high intensity,
in your face
gaming, in your face takes.
Just two guys cutting it up about video games with loyal fans. So yes, thank you everybody. Thank you for tuning in every week. And the weeks that we don't show up, thank you for listening anyways. And we can only hope, and we will try to make year 2 better. Anniversary's coming up. Big things coming up. It's going to be a big year next year for us. We're making a lot of plans. So yeah, we like doing this apparently. It wasn't a joke, or if it was a joke, it was a very long joke. Anyways, let's get into some video game news this week. Not a lot of news, but we found some tidbits we wanted to discuss. The main one being the Activision Blizzard deal that's been put on hold. If you guys remember, because you guys are loyal and you stuck with us, we did discuss the Activision Blizzard deal as our 3rd episode of the year when we first started the podcast. It was a big deal at the time, still a big deal since, and we kind of gave we had the idea that it was going to go through. There wasn't going to be any problems, but there's been a couple hiccups. I know there's been slow news trickling out of the approval to get acquired over the last couple months, but it wasn't enough to kind of talk about it. But since we are at the end of the year and it's still on hold, I did want to discuss it, especially with Nick, just get some funny insights into this. It's on hold in the EU, the European Union, in the UK, the United Kingdom, and in Brazil, just because it's very antitrust, they're afraid it's going to be a monopoly. A lot of pushback from Sony. Sony does not want this to happen. We learned from the court filings that Sony has a 3-year deal in place for Call of Duty exclusivity. Microsoft wants to bump it up to 10 years as a little olive branch, but Sony's not having any of that because they think it's Call of Duty's too valuable of a franchise to just be on a short 10-year deal. Also, we have Microsoft trying to downplay how profitable Call of Duty is, even though we know it's like one of the most profitable video game franchises in the world, right up there with like GTA or anything like that. And then Sony throwing other franchises under the bus. Sucks to be you, Battlefield, but they say you suck. Can't bring in the numbers. And then Sony also saying that they're afraid that Microsoft is going to do the same thing they did with the acquisition of Bethesda and the exclusivity of Starfield, where where Xbox is gonna lock Call of Duty like they're about to do with Starfield. So a lot of things, a lot of back and forth, petty stuff. We love the pettiness of this. What do you think, Nick? Are you intrigued more now than you were at the beginning of the year? Because now it looks like it might not even work.
Yeah, I think it's been funny just to see, kind of like more like internal thoughts around like the gaming landscape kind of get shared through a lot of these responses to the various, antitrust and competition review committees. So to me, I just kind of find it amusing. I still think it'll go through. I think it's just going to be maybe more painful than people thought initially. The thing that I find kind of fascinating is I kind of understand why this is happening, but I think it's gone like maybe a bit too far. But they kind of, maybe this is specifically like the CMA one that's being done out of the UK, but they've really just kind of like reduced the whole thing down to Call of Duty as like that's the only thing that's getting acquired. And it's like, okay, like there's much more there than just Call of Duty. But so I just find that kind of odd. And I don't know, like I feel Microsoft, like maybe they want to like have the option to be able to just do whatever they want with the games that they acquire, but I still feel like they're going to take the approach. To me, it's more like they'll do something similar to Minecraft as opposed to what they did with the Bethesda games. Because particularly because Call of Duty is, it's a live service game. It's very multiplayer centric. So for that type of game to really work well, it needs to have as much scale as possible. So it's hard for me to imagine that like someone wearing like a business finance hat at Microsoft is going to be like, yeah, let's take it all exclusive and put it on Game Pass and just like overnight cannibalize, or not like just lose out on, probably billions of dollars of revenue over a long time period. So in my mind, that's maybe the distinction. I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, they're taking, Starfield exclusive. And it's like, okay, well, that's I think mainly like a single player, kind of traditional Bethesda type game where it's like single player role playing. Obviously, they wanted to sell as many copies as possible, but I don't think it's necessarily that important that it's on every platform. As much as like say like a like a Fortnite or a Call of Duty or something like that. So that's kind of my thinking on that. So,
well, I'm a little bit on the opposite of that, where I do think it's very doable, just because honestly, Call of Duty is the one differentiator. Obviously, we know with Sony's strength in first-party games that they have all these franchises, but they're mostly single-player. They don't have anything multiplayer. Even with the acquisition of Bungie by Sony, and them basically working with them with future titles and all that, it still doesn't stack up to Call of Duty levels. This would be in the same case, I would say, as like I was saying earlier, Grand Theft Auto, like if Grand Theft Auto kind of just went to one platform, or Red Dead or something like that, it's very hard, because even with Fortnite's popular, but it's nowhere in the Call of Duty levels. I think the fact that Call of Duty is so popular, and every year, even if they just do back-to-back years, which we've seen lately, and it's become kind of bland and boring, it's still the number one selling franchise every year. It does big numbers. It attracts a lot of people online to play, online to watch, and all that stuff. So I do think Sony has cause for concern. With Starfield and the Bethesda acquisition, it doesn't really, I think, drive it as much, just because, yeah, Starfield looks good and it looks massive, and it might be a technological marvel with everything you're going to be able to do in that game. But not everybody's going to flock to it. It doesn't have the audience. So I just think that's the one big thing that they're trying to push. They are trying to present Call of Duty as like the one big thing, because they are afraid. I mean, right now, Sony might be leading the market in that sense. But if you take all those massive users of PlayStation and let them know, hey, we're not going to be on PlayStation anymore in 10 years. We're going to be on Xbox only. You're going to kind of start seeing that migration. So we're at different odds, where you're like, oh no, they'll never do that. It's all about the money. But at the end of the day, yeah, it's all about the money. But you're gonna get the money regardless if you just kind of keep it one way. You just get more adopters of the system, don't you think? Especially if you being a big proponent of Game Pass, if everything's offered through Game Pass, then that makes it more enticing, where people are like, oh, let's just get on Xbox because we get everything on Game Pass.
Yeah, generally, it depends to what extent, like how many exclusives Microsoft has, either just on the platform or through Game Pass. So in my mind, that's another reason why I find this kind of funny, that the whole this whole antitrust review has been isolated to like one game, and whether one game is enough to actually get someone to move platforms. And I'm a big believer that like one game isn't enough. Like if it's just one game, it's like a very small percentage of people would be like, okay, I'm done with PlayStation now, and I'm going all in on Xbox because of one game. Like that's just not how it's gonna work. So to me that's the trade-off, that's like the analysis to be had. It's just like taking away all the revenue from PlayStation, and do you actually get that back by former PlayStation people migrating to Xbox? There's no way that ever, just looking at it and for one title, like there's no way that math ever works. So it would need to be like a much bigger bet. Like Call of Duty would be like one of many things to get people away from PlayStation, but I just don't see that ever working. So
yeah, and you're right. I mean, they don't really have as many franchises, because people play Overwatch, but is it really that popular? Dota, is it up there? And Diablo, and all those other games that they publish. Even on the Bethesda side, like Redfall coming out, or Fallout and all that stuff, it does have you wondering. Well, I guess we'll have to be back here in 10 years and then see who's right. 10 years of Pressing Buttons podcast just to prove a point.
I do that. I love that. I do that all the time with people I work with, where we make like very long-term bets, like 5 years into the future. And then what I do is I actually I'll set a Google Calendar invite for 5 years into the future and invite all the people and be like, okay, who was right? And I've done that twice. Well, I've done it a lot of times, but it's actually twice has happened where it's actually been like a 5-year time period since I've done that, and I've been right both times. So
all right, well, send me that invite so I can just rub it in your face when you're wrong.
I'm at 100%.
You're about to lose. All right, moving on from that, we wanted to discuss the new Super Mario Brothers trailer. Us here at Pressing Buttons, we're big fans of Nintendo. Psych, not Nick.
Dude, I was at Nintendo World yesterday, or the Nintendo store.
Okay,
so I'm a fan. I think I'm like too much of a fan. Like I've got
that is true.
like I'm
That
like
is true.
just very critical of them.
Okay. I was looking
yeah.
for that word where like you're a fan, yes, but you're also very critical. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to throw you under the bus like that, but it was too funny. But yes,
Yeah.
we're both big fans of Nintendo. We're excited. We were excited when the first original announcement for the movie was made, just because we knew the Illumination Studios they were going to be doing. Look at that, Nick showing off his little. What game is that from?
It's from Earthbound.
Earthbound.
So,
His little Earthbound notepad.
What non-Nintendo fan would have a Earthbound themed daily planner?
Yeah, you definitely are a bigger fan than I am, because I was like, I don't even know what character that is.
Yeah.
But yeah, we loved that they made an announcement for this, especially because it was going to open up a lot of doors for other Nintendo franchises to be done animated movies, to have animated movies made for. It looks great. It looks amazing. It looks like they're incorporating a lot of the Mario games from like Mario Kart, the original Donkey Kong game with original Donkey Kong, just Mario Galaxy. So it looks great. All the voice actors still sound great except for Chris Pratt. Sorry, Chris Pratt, you're not convincing me that you're very Italian plumber or whatever. But everybody sounds great. Charlie Day sounds great as Luigi. Jack Black still killing it as Bowser, and then Anna Taylor-Joy, I believe is her name. She's doing good as Peach. It's looking wonderful. This thing is I think it's gonna just break numbers, man. Like, kids love Mario, adults love Mario. It's gonna drive people to the movies. What do you think?
Yeah, no, it looks awesome, and yeah, I think that's been the almost unanimous internet consensus is everyone's incredible except Mario. So that's kind of funny how that panned out. And I totally agree with that. Like, and I'm a big Chris Pratt fan, but there's like the performance is just like not landing. It just like does not sound good at all. So there's a part of me that's just like, are they just baiting the audience in some way? Like, is that kind of part of the movie somehow? I don't know. So I'm maybe trying to give them like the benefit of the doubt, but if not, then I think we're just gonna have to accept that Mario's performance is kind of whatever, but like everything else around the movie is incredible. Yeah, Jack Black as Bowser is just so good. So if anything, I'm just like very, very excited about that. I don't think we saw Donkey Kong, aka Danky Kang. As
Seth Rogen is
yeah, Seth Rogen. But did we actually hear him other than making like grunting noises or anything?
I think he said so. Like two or three words. And
maybe I gotta rewatch it. Okay. But yeah, no, it looks awesome. So yeah, I'm sure that's going to be a slam dunk at the box office. And really, I mean, what's the prevailing game adaptation? Is it Sonic? Is it Sonic 2? So far it's the highest grossing video game adaptation done. Yeah, I think it's gonna kill that movie, dude.
Well, we're in a new era of actual faithful and good adaptations of video games. I don't know if you saw the Last of Us trailer, but that looks good too. I do like that, even though it's franchises that we know and love, they did change up Donkey Kong. He does look a little bit more like his original Mario Donkey Kong game. Donkey Kong, he doesn't look like the Donkey Kong Country Donkey Kong.
Country, yeah.
Yeah, and from the vibes, at least from the trailer, just because they are kind of, I don't know if maybe they're hesitant to have Chris Pratt's Mario voice in there a lot, or if it'll just be kind of focused more on all the characters, which would be good, focusing on Peach and Luigi and Donkey Kong. I think it'll make the film better and just makes it easier to do more follow-ups from those branches. But it's looking good. I'm excited to watch it. One thing I do want to compare, and I was going to talk about this in the closing thoughts, but Black Adam. So Chris Pratt's voice with Mario's body doesn't work as much as in Black Adam. There's a scene where they have The Rock, but they don't have The Rock's face in The Rock's body. They have like The Rock's face in some measly weak dude's body, and you're like, that doesn't work, man, because The Rock's face is so muscular. You're like, that's not his body. So that's how it is, and I will talk about that in the closing thoughts. But just, if you've seen Black Adam, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Are you gonna go watch it in theater?
I will make the line, I think, if or wait at home. I don't know. If I get a nice group, I don't want to watch it by myself. It'll be creepy. An old man in a theater with no kids.
Doing that. Yeah.
Wear my Yoshi costume.
Hey kids. Yeah. Hey kids. You want some snow caps?
Yeah. Hey kids. Listen to pressing buttons.
That'd be maybe. Should we dress up in our Halloween costumes and go to the movie? That'd be fun.
Man. That'd be good. That'd be free advertisement.
Yeah. I just want to get as much leverage out of these Halloween costume investments as possible. So.
We got to wear them every chance we get. We're probably going to even wear them to Evo. I don't know.
Yeah. So, yeah, maybe I don't know. That's
a lot. That's a lot.
Small, maybe. Yeah. But yeah, in my mind, I think the movie looks great. I think it was something I was going to wait and just check it out at home. I think it would be a good plane movie too. So either the comfort of my own home or plane movie. I don't know if I'm going to go out to the box office, which maybe isn't really necessarily a reflection of the movie. Like I'm just like incredibly highly selective around which movies I actually go out to the theaters for. So I just don't know for me if that's going to make the short list. And
I think you're right with this one especially. It's you definitely know it's marketed toward kids because it's by the same studio that did the Minions and Despicable Me movies, but just because Mario's timeless and from the 80s, all those 30 to 40-year-old people are going to be going there to watch it. So I don't want to be in a theater with a bunch of kids yelling and saying stupid things.
Yeah, I think it'll be probably comparable to Wreck-It Ralph, where clearly a movie targeted to kids, but they have enough references and throwbacks to the Mario games from the 80s and 90s, so that the older audiences kind of have something there as well.
Yeah, so. All right. So we can't wait to see more of this Mario movie and what it leads to. Hopefully some Zelda stuff, some Donkey Kong. I wouldn't mind seeing a little Donkey Kong movie. Love me some Donkey Kong, Diddy Kong. You love you some Donkey Kong.
I'm more of a Donkey Kong kind of guy. Oh. Do you think? I was wondering if there's so many characters in the Mario movie. I was wondering if Wario makes a surprise appearance.
It would be a shame if he doesn't. Him and Waluigi. Like I'm pretty sure there's gonna be many.
Even like Easter a cameo. Yeah. Like there's got to be a cameo or something, right?
Like because I think in the trailer there was a couple Easter eggs, which was cool if you're familiar with the franchise. But I definitely want to see other characters from different franchises just kind of seep in there, do a little joke or whatever. That's going to be fun. But Wario and Luigi need to be in there. We had to know. Wario and Luigi had to, Wario and Waluigi had to be exposed to the world. People have to know them. So hopefully they're in there. All right, moving on. Next topic we wanted to discuss is trouble games. So recently, the last couple of weeks, we've had two games. What are you cracking up about?
So dramatic.
Yeah. You know us.
The audience is dialed in now. They've moved to YouTube. They're looking at the video very closely.
This is some hard hitting podcasting right here.
That's what I was trying to say before. Like, why do they tag us leisure? Like that's bullshit.
But yeah,
it's a true crime podcast now. Yeah,
there you go. I've got you hooked in. We're gonna be talking about troubled games, guys. So the last couple of weeks we've seen the launch of two very anticipated games, but also they've launched with a lot of trouble, a lot of glitches. We're gonna be talking about Callisto Protocol, which launched on the 2nd, so just a couple days ago, and then Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. So first, let's talk about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Obviously, Nintendo so well known for delaying games, so they don't want to rush a product. They want to release a high quality product, but not in this case. Pokemon Scarlet Violet released with a lot of glitches, the frame rate skipping, a lot of Pokemon glitches, move glitches, just all kinds of glitches. They did release a patch recently to kind of address some of the issues, but for some users it seems to be helping, and then for some users it seems to not be doing anything. And then in the case of Callisto Protocol, very much hyped game from the studio that from a studio that was founded by people who worked on the original Dead Space. Game looks good, but that itself is also coming out with a lot of glitches, a lot of AI stuff, doing random stuff. The game just not working as intended. Also, a very short game, seems to be between 12 to 15 hours to finish. But on an upside, it's looking good, and they're promising to patch it up. It is weird, just because for a while there used to be a time period with video games where there were a lot of games shipping with a lot of issues, a lot of glitches, and getting patched day one to resolve those issues. And I thought we kind of like got away from that. I thought like, yeah, now people are dedicating more time to the games, making sure they're finished, making sure they're shipped correctly, and they don't give any issues for people. But is this a herald of a new era, or are we coming back? What do you think? I know you haven't played Pokemon in a while, but
Yeah.
what do you think of Game Freak doing this to us?
Yeah, actually, I don't know if I necessarily felt, game bugs and launch issues like kind of going away, as you phrased it. To me, I think really what's happening is there's been fewer big launches, specifically in this calendar year and maybe even last year. So to me, I kind of feel like that trend hasn't really gone away that much, and then I think it's going to continue, where I think more often than not, games are going to be launched with issues. But I don't know if maybe that's just a function of like we were just playing different types of games or whatever. But so I think that trend's going to continue. With Pokemon, I think that was actually pretty surprising, right? Because for Nintendo, I think Nintendo has done historically like a very good job of making sure every game is ready to go at launch, and they haven't been perfect, but I don't think they've been as bad as some of these other like more catastrophic launches that we've seen. And I actually don't really understand the relationship exactly between Game Freak, who's the developer, and then Nintendo and the Pokemon Company as like the publishers. So maybe there's something unique about that relationship where Game Freak's able to be like, fuck you, we're done, and we're shipping the game and take it. So maybe there's something unique about that relationship as opposed to like a Nintendo first party studio that's like they're not sending that until it's at Nintendo's typical high quality standards. So it was a little weird. And what's I think not a good thing is I think like the game's been selling like super well, right?
Yeah, they did. I believe 3 million. so like still earning lots of money.
So now now Nintendo's going to get a whiff of that and be like, oh yeah, maybe it's like maybe we don't need to worry about having such like high quality standards, or maybe we can have like a little bit more room to maneuver in terms of what the audience will accept as like maybe like poor performance, or if things are buggy, whatever. Like maybe people, broadly speaking, don't care as much about that. And really what we're just hearing is kind of like the vocal minority of like, the big like YouTube channels and big influencers on Twitter who are probably like older complaining about the stuff. But maybe that's like actually like a pretty small set of people that like actually care about that and would choose to either not continue playing the game or like returning the game or something like that. But it seems like everyone else is just whatever, like it sucks, but not enough for me to care about it that much.
Yeah, old people complaining every time.
Yeah, I do that with every Switch launch. So
well, I think it also has to do with Pokemon Legends Arceus. It's which released at the beginning of the year. So basically, 2 mainline Pokemon games within one calendar year, made by one studio. You can probably see a bit of overwork just trying to release two mainline games. That probably had a big effect on it. And I think you're right. Yeah. And I think you are right. With kind of calling out these, YouTubers, these big personalities that just kind of shine a spotlight on the negative stuff, because with both of these games, I know they do have their glitches and stuff like that, but they seem to be fun. People are enjoying them. Sometimes glitches aren't all bad. With certain glitches, they lead to new ways to play the game. Funny things happen or whatever. Just, they're still enjoyable for some people. I know one of them was like, you can kiss your Pokemon. So some people are hyped about that. I don't know who, but yeah.
I saw some highly inappropriate Diglett ones, so I won't say any more, but you can probably...
Yeah, our podcast is explicit, but it's not whatever past the explicit thing is. But yeah, it's funny stuff. The internet will have its laugh. Obviously, my hope is that it doesn't kind of bleed through to other games, especially major releases. But they have been kind of fast in terms of addressing the problems or letting people know that they're going to be taking care of everything and making sure everything's back on track. And then as far as Callisto Protocol is concerned, I think I'm still going to get it. I'm just waiting. I'm currently playing a couple other games that I want to get to finish before I hop into Callisto Protocol. But so far, I've been hearing good things, even with the glitches and stuff like that, and how short the game is. I think it's still been getting good, just gamer feedback.
Yeah. The one thing you said about the Pokemon. So going back to Pokemon, about it's basically an annual release title at this point, right? Which I feel like is a fairly recent phenomenon, like going back to the game, like the Game Boy games. I kind of felt like it was more like once, or it was like more like two releases per generation type of thing, like one or two, maybe three. But I after Sword and Shield came out on Switch, I have not been able to keep up with all these Pokemon. Like I have no idea what they are, and so I've really that was a big turnoff for me, where I'm just like, there's just too many of these games, and I can't keep up with all this. And I don't think it's a type of, for me at least, like it's not a type of game that I want to play that much, all the time. So some choice was made to make this more, kind of like a Call of Duty, annual title.
The new Call of Duty, baby.
Yeah, and that's exactly why you're seeing these issues, right? Like developers just, it's very difficult to keep up with that pace of releasing titles. So that decision must be a big driver of why the title is performing so poorly, and from like an actual technical performance.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know if it's performing poorly.
Technical. And then the glitches and the bugs and all that. So I think with these big releases, I'm sure there's pressure to get them, which this has been happening, with like Assassin's Creed and all that stuff. Like for these like really big franchises, there's just always that pressure to get out as many titles as, push them out as often as possible. And then I think with live service games becoming increasingly the norm, and there's always demands to create content all the time, I think that's also a situation where you often see in live service games where launch can be pretty challenging, or there's issues because the developers just under so much pressure to get out a lot of content under very strict time frames. So whenever that's happening, I think performance or launch issues are inevitable, and to me that's why I was kind of going back to my earlier point, where I just feel like that trend is going to just continue. Like I don't know how that ever gets solved, based on just the volume of content that's getting published.
Yeah, and that's a problem with these games, that, like you said, if they become annually, like, are they really changing anything? Obviously, I think we both purchased Sword and Shield when it came out because it was the first one for the Switch. It was something different, so we wanted to try it out. But this is kind of more the same, and we're at the point where, we're a small subset, but we are the ones that are like, well, yeah, we'll buy a Pokemon game, but if it's different, not if it's just the same little going around the villages and you got another 150 new ones or whatever it is they're up to these days. I think it just doesn't drive us enough anymore to purchase the games. But we're the minority. You still have millions of people that will buy the game because they still love Pokemon and they want to see these new things, and they enjoy the kind of repetitiveness of it. So
yeah. And jumping over to Callisto Protocol, since you talked about that a little bit. Yeah, I was going to ask you that question, whether, we've been seeing some reviews come through, whether those reviews were spooking you at all to potentially not get it, but it sounds like you're still going to get it. You're just maybe not in as much of a hurry. Maybe you'll let things.
Yeah, I think it's
get ironed out
that.
a bit.
I think I'm not in as much of a hurry to get it, especially with the way everybody's comparing it to Dead Space, where it's very Dead Spacey. So, and Dead Space comes out, I think it's end of January, beginning of February. I forget the exact time. So it's like kind of, I really want to play the Dead Space remaster. So I'm like, I'm going to be stuck. I might probably just pick up Callisto just because it's a whole new franchise and I want to see what that is. But the bad review, not bad reviews, because I think it got very positive reviews. It just got a lot of slack because of the glitches. The glitches don't really kind of deter me. As we've seen with a lot of games like Cyberpunk or No Man's Sky or something like that, it might not be the game that you wanted when it shipped, but eventually it might get fixed enough where they fix it. Or it could go the way of Anthem, and then they could just drop full support, and you're screwed. I want my $60 back, EA. Fuck you. All right,
Yeah.
that was a bit aggressive about EA. I'm sorry, I threw that in there.
Damn, dude. Yeah, it seems like you never recovered from that.
I wanted it to work so much.
Yeah. I think so we know, earliest in a prior episode, you said you were going to get Callisto Protocol. I think I was going to take more of a wait and see approach, which I will continue to do that. I think I'll definitely check it out at some point. It's just a matter of, maybe I just wait and get it on a discount at some point, and I'll be good with that. But what's funny, the reviews have been coming in. I think they're fine. I think what happens is there's not a lot of titles. There's not a lot of big new titles coming out this year. I think a lot of people have been hyping this game up a lot. So I think that's kind of another situation where people just had super high expectations. And now the reviews are coming in and people are like, oh my God, it's a disaster because it's not getting, 90 plus on Metacritic or whatever it is. So that's kind of unfortunate because we've talked about this before as well, where some of our favorite games are not rated very highly. I think you really like the Evil Within games. I always talk about Mad Max, how I absolutely love that game, and basically no one ever talks about it, and I think it was rated okay. Cyberpunk got trashed at launch, and I was fortunate where I had a beefy gaming rig, so a lot of the technical performance issues that people had, I had fewer of those, but I was able to play through the game and absolutely loved it. So I feel I'm still optimistic, where that review range doesn't necessarily scare me away from purchasing it. It's more of it's not necessarily my cup of tea from a genre perspective, so that's really driving more my decision to be I'll just wait for it to be cheaper in the future, and I'll check it out.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna ride that little train, probably, especially like you said. I kind of dig the Evil Within, Resident Evil. That's right up my alley. But for some reason, they do kind of go on sale right after. So I think just because the game is so short from everything I've heard, I might give it a little wait on that and wait a couple months, see if it's on the bargain, which I think it will be, and then just pick it up then and enjoy it then. But it's definitely a get for me. Just whether it's now or later, that's just the course. And we know you ain't getting it because you're a little scary bitch.
I'll check it out.
As
long as there's no Mr. X mechanic, that's the thing that weirds me out. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't deal with that.
Looks like there's a lot of jump scares. It looks good though. The graphics look great. The character models look great. You got Josh Duhamel from Transformers, and also Fergie's ex-husband. There you go, if you didn't know. And then you have I forget the girl's name. I'll have to find it, but from The Boys, she's in there too. All right, so that does it for the news of the week we wanted to talk about, and we're going to move on to some closing thoughts. I'll start it off. Talk about video games. I started playing Evil West, which, if you guys been hearing with us, when they announced it during Summer's Game Fest, it looked right up my alley. Looked like some 2010 action-packed games. And let me tell you, it does play like a 2010 game, but in a good way. The graphics are very beefy. I feel like I'm playing Gears of War. The combat is pretty cool, which is funny because just coming off of God of War, it kind of translates into it because you kind of have different move sets and you can string them along and stuff like that. I wouldn't say it's like a technical masterpiece or anything like that, but it is a fun little game. So I've been playing that. I'm enjoying it. I think I'm halfway there through it. The cutscenes are pretty cool. Your typical vampire in the West with other monsters thrown in there just for fun. So it's a pretty fun game. If you really like the looks of it, which I did, I would recommend buying it. If not, I would recommend till it's on bargain, but it's definitely like a pickup to have fun.
I think it's on Game Pass, right?
Come on, man. Are you like a Microsoft shill? Like,
yeah. I think it's on Game Pass.
Yeah, it's on Game Pass.
We need to get like a
Oh, yeah, we could do co-op. We do co-op, too.
Yeah, let's try that. Actually, now that I'm back, I was doing some travel for Thanksgiving. Now that I'm back in action at my gaming rig, that's on my queue of games to play. So maybe I'll do that tonight.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure it's on Game Pass, and then it's the same studio that did the Shadow Warrior, the more recent Shadow Warrior games. So when you're talking about just the way that you explain the game, I'm like, okay, I know exactly what you're talking about based on how Shadow Warrior is, but I think that's great. I mean, I'm totally cool with that. Yeah. And the aesthetic looked cool and the gameplay looked fun. So yeah, I'll try that one out.
Yeah. And then the other video game front is Fortnite. So as everybody's mostly aware, the new chapter just released yesterday. They did the whole event thing, showing changing the map, showing what they're going to be using in the new map, showing the skins and all that stuff. And then also, since Epic usually uses Fortnite as a showcase for what the Unreal Engine can do, it also has a lot of the new updates to Unreal Engine 5.1, which look great in terms of illumination and reflections and stuff like that. So the game always looks good, even in its cartoony form. So I decided to re-download that and I'm going to check it out for the next week just to get a look at the new season and get a look at the gameplay and the map and all that stuff, and see what could be for any future Unreal Engine 5.1 games.
Yeah. And then have you played the no build mode yet?
No. That's why I got to get into it.
As soon as it came out, I was telling you to check it out. It's a game changer. We should.
Yeah. Got some W's. Some W's. Get some battle royale.
I think you'll actually really like the game now, and it looks awesome. The new engine, and the other shout out is I think it's for the first time. Geralt is
Geralt.
So that's
it looks
cool.
like Geralt's going to be in there. The Incredible Hulk is going to be in there, and Doom. The Doom, what's the guy called? I never played Doom. Doomslayer? Is that what it's called?
They just call him Doom Guy.
Yeah.
Or I think Doomslayer is maybe the more technical term. I thought he was already in it, though.
No.
It was the first time?
No.
Oh, you know what? Maybe it was...
He was in something else.
I think it was leaked, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
A while ago. And then Mr. Beast, who's a YouTube person who I guess is famous, but yeah. And then that's it on the video game front. In TV front, I finished Andor. Andor finished last week after the Christmas break. Amazing show. I don't want to spoil anything because it's an experience you got to do, but it is. I'm gonna put it as like one of my top 5 shows of the year. We should maybe one of the closing thoughts before the year ends. I'll give a top 5 of all of my shows of the year, but Andor is definitely up there, 1 or 2. It's something different from Star Wars. My qualm with Star Wars all the time is I think they focus too much on the Jedi and the Sith. Even though that's cool, you kind of want to see everything else that's going on in the world. I mean, you have other planets and different environments, different alien races and different things, and so much different histories, alien histories, Mandalorians, all that stuff. Like, I want to see other stuff besides Jedi and Sith. And Andor kind of focuses on the rebellion and how it affects like normal civilians and how it leads people to form the rebellion and the resistance and kind of fight back the Empire at a lower level without lightsabers and magical powers. So definitely check that out if you're a big Star Wars fan. If you're not a Star Wars fan, I think you should still check it out because it's very down to earth. Besides the interplanetary stuff, and then Gangs of London is another show I've been watching. Andor, by the way, is on Disney Plus. Gangs of London is on AMC Plus. This one is produced by Gareth Edwards, who did the Raid movies. If you've never seen them, super awesome, action-packed, heavy movies, very gory, very shoot 'em up, blow 'em up, John Wick stuff. And this one's kind of the same way. It's just basically like fights of gangs in London, drug stuff, shooting stuff, corruption, all that stuff. Pretty good watch just because there's a lot of action. Like I said, very gun action, martial arts action. So if you have the chance, check that out. What about you? What you got?
Cool. A few things. One is it took a year, but it's finally here.
Is this a pressing buttons review?
The Analogue Pocket.
Nice. All right.
So it finally arrived. Actually, because I've been having so much fun with this thing, I haven't played God of War at all. So I have.
You have to finish it for the review.
I'm way behind on playing God of War and finishing that so that we can actually talk about the game. But it's the fault of this device. I've been having a great time with it. I don't know if I have too much to add versus like what's kind of like already out there in terms of reviews, but it's just like it's a really nice device. I don't know if you can see if you're on the video, but it's primarily designed to play cartridges, so you can just directly slot in if you have Game Boy Color, and I think Game Boy Advance cartridges. You can, if you actually own the physical cartridge, you just stick it in there and it plays great. The screen on this thing is unbelievable, where it's almost kind of, I actually might need to like test out what these games look like on just regular emulators that you would commonly use, because I've done that in the past and it's looked fine, but I feel like there's something special about this screen that just makes the games look like so incredible. So like the games just look amazing. It's kind of hard to describe. Even my wife is just like that looks like an old game. I'm like, no, it is, but like it looks so much better than I kind of remember. What I did was I do have some Nintendo cartridges, but
yeah, I was gonna ask what were you able to put any like regular cartridges in there, and which ones?
Well, actually, I don't even know I don't think I've actually tried that yet. I just went directly into downloading the beta firmware for, so I think it's called like Analogue, like Pocket OS or something, like whatever the software is for the device. If you download the beta version, it allows you to basically directly load ROMs from a memory card. I've done a lot of different versions of emulators and BIOS files and ROMs, and it's not like that hard, but like it can often be like a little bit annoying, and you kind of need to know what you're doing to get everything to work properly, and there's a lot of troubleshooting that generally happens to get things to work. So with this, I just got the device. There's one, I can't remember the guy's name, but some person, it's a software called Auto Uploader or Auto Updater or something like that. If you just do a quick search, you'll easily find it. But basically, it's just like one kind of program that you just put on the memory, like a micro SD card. You put the micro SD card on the device, and it just kind of like solves everything for you. So you can play Nintendo, so of course like Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, but also like Nintendo Genesis, Neo Geo, Super Nintendo, so on and so forth. So it's kind of like that generation of systems. Now I was all on this one one device. You're on your own for ROMs, so you got to figure that one out. But once you find the ROMs, it's like pretty easy to get them on there. So yeah, I've just been kind of getting this thing set up, playing a ton of different older games. I also got the dock. So, it's primarily a portable device. That's all you get when you buy it, but you can separately buy a dock that has, an HDMI cable, and you can just plug it to any HDMI TV, and, it charges it, and it has, I think it's up to 4 controllers. So it's got wireless controller connectivity. So
what controllers does it connect to? Like anything that's wireless, like it'll connect to a PlayStation or Steam or
right now
Switch?
right now it's limited. I'm sure they'll open it up, but there are like USB ports on the back, so you can plug in things through USB, but it's USB or wireless or Bluetooth. All that connectivity is there, but as of right now, the support list is actually like a pretty short list of controllers, where it's the Nintendo Switch Pro controller, PS4 controllers, and then there's a couple 8-bit-do.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. One.
Yeah. So I had a Switch Pro controller handy, so I've just been using that, playing wirelessly. So yeah, instead of playing God of War, I've been playing Chrono Trigger on my 65-inch television, and it looks fucking awesome. So yeah, pretty happy with that. The only knock on it is I can't. Maybe it's there somewhere. I haven't figured it out yet, but I'm pretty sure you can't connect headphones wirelessly. So when you're playing,
you need like just a regular
just wired headphones. But so it's not like a disaster, but for me, like, just I guess I'm like comparing it to the PS Vita, where I just use my wireless Bluetooth headphones, and I can connect it to a Vita, but I can't connect it to this wildly expensive portable machine. So I think that was kind of disappointing, that I need to like lug around wired headphones again after.
Yeah, that's a bit of a bummer.
Finally getting wired headphones like out of my life. I gotta like, other than obviously when I'm here, at my battle station, but like when I'm out on the road, I basically haven't had to use wired headphones for anything. So that's kind of annoying. But other than that, I'm really happy with this thing. So it's much better than the Playdate.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how does it compare to that Crank thing?
I mean, it's not. They're not comparable, other than just being portable machines. But it's like not even close. I think, did I give that 0 or 1?
You gave it a 1 just because it worked, because it turned on. What would you give? What would you give this one? What do you want our audience to know? How many buns are you gonna give it? 0 to 5.
0 to 5. I think that's 4.
Oh, 4. Very high praise.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So I think the knocks would be like the headphone. I know maybe it's like a nitpick for most people, but for me, like, that's like actually like a pretty big deal. Like, I'm pretty annoyed by that. And maybe related to that is like the price of the thing is like, it's expensive as shit. So I think it is like very, very expensive for what it is. So I think that would maybe be like another reason why I like knock the score down a little bit. But other than that, if you're looking for a portable, so it's both portable and you can dock it. So I think for me at least, that's the first time where I'm playing Chrono Trigger at home, and I'm like, oh, I want to go somewhere, but I want to continue playing Chrono Trigger on my same save and all that, and just bring it with me. Like, this allows you to do that. So like, I think that's pretty awesome. So if you're looking to play again, kind of that generation of consoles, this is like an awesome solution. There's definitely cheaper solutions out there. Maybe they don't quite look as good. So, it is like a niche product. So if the price tag doesn't scare you off, I would definitely recommend it.
Yeah, man, it looks great. You heard it here first. or actually you heard it here. I'm pretty sure you heard it somewhere else. But our very first 4 out of 5 buttons review. Definitely way better than the last one.
Yeah, I don't think we were talking about this on a prior episode. I just forgot the name of the thing at one point.
That's how.
So I haven't, after I moved, when I moved back to New York, I don't think I've ever taken it out of the box. So.
Yeah. All right.
So that's that. Whereas this is, I got the dock. I was like not convinced I actually needed the dock, but I was just like, okay, well, I'm buying this thing. It's already kind of expensive. It's going to take me a year to get it. So I might as well just like get the whole, get the bundle. I got this and like there's a case and all this stuff. So I just kind of went all in with it. But now I'm like very, very happy that I got the dock. Like it's awesome.
Is it still like back ordered or whatever, or like do you think it's still hard to get, or if anybody out there wants one?
I think that might be another thing where if you really want to get one, I think you basically got to put your order in now and be patient. I don't think you can easily get it. They have this like queue system that they operate on, so I think it'll take some time. To get one through Analogue. Of course, if you just want to get one on eBay, I'm sure you can get one at a premium, but yeah.
Well, it seems like the Steam Deck, it's worth the wait.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's the Steam Deck. I think the Steam Deck can actually basically play all of these same games too. I just feel like the screen, it's like a very big system, and the screen is maybe like not as well optimized for that generation of systems. So there's kind of like a generational thing where for Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Game Boy, whatever, this is my device for playing that, whether it's portable or docked. And then I think Vita would be more the PlayStation, PlayStation era, PlayStation PS2, that kind of era of games. Or actually, no, I don't think Vita plays PS2, does it? I can't remember. It definitely plays PlayStation.
No PS2s.
Okay.
Just the PlayStation 3 and the 4 and the 5.
Yeah. And then for maybe Steam Deck, you can do a little bit more modern stuff. But so I'm trying to figure out my other project is going to be modding my Dreamcast. So I'll be able to connect that to through HDMI, and there's a bunch of other updates you can make to it as well. So.
That's a lot of good.
I'm just trying to build out my methods of basically being able to play any game I want at any time.
That's good, And if anybody on Discord has any questions about these things that Nick is doing, you can feel free to come on the Discord and shoot him a message.
There you go.
What else you got?
Yeah. So that's taken up a ton of time. The other thing that was a cool announcement was Street Fighter 6. They're doing a second network test. So because I was part of the first one, I think this is the way it works. So because I was part of the first one, I get an automatic invitation to the second one.
Lucky.
And then you're able to you were able to apply, right?
Yeah.
So hopefully you get through.
Yeah, I was able to apply. You got to go to Capcom. You can apply, choose a platform of choice. I chose Steam because you're on Steam. The plan is to hopefully I also get an invite, and then we can take a couple battles to see who's boss of pressing buttons.
And then the timing is great because I just ordered. It's called an Paradise Arcade Empress controller, the special Evo edition for it. So it's one of those. I don't even know what they call them. I guess it's like button controllers, or I think people call them like a hitbox, but hitbox is.
I always thought they were a joystick.
Well, this one doesn't have a joystick. It doesn't have a deep. Yeah. So it's
for the no stick. It's a no stick.
There's no joystick. There's no D-pad. It basically replaces those just with more buttons. So I think people
That's the
generally
name of our other podcast, More Buttons.
more buttons. Yeah, that's for our bonus content. It's
Yeah, there you
even
go.
more buttons. Yeah.
Oh, it's in there.
So yeah, this would be my first. I was saying before about the hitbox. I think that's that's the Kleenex of these types of controllers, where just everyone knows that brand. But I think a lot of other controller manufacturers are starting to make their own version of that, where it's just buttons everywhere. So this will be my first time using one of those controllers. I'm looking forward to that. And then I think I get it this week. And then this will be on the 16th, I believe. So December 16th is the actual Street Fighter network test. So I'll be able to try out the new controller on that and probably get my ass kicked because I'm already like not good at Street Fighter to begin with. But then I think these controllers have like a really steep learning curve. So that'll be fun. But yeah, that was an exciting announcement that there's going to be more Street Fighter 6 this year. That'll help, give us some time until the actual release date.
It'll help round out the year too. We'll definitely have to check it out. I'm going to be using one of my 4 PlayStation 5 controllers and see how that works. And who knows if it motivates me enough, if I feel like I might need that extra advantage of some sort of joystick, arcade stick, or whatever they call them. We'll see. Maybe I might get one too.
Okay.
All right.
The only other call out is I haven't been watching. I've been pretty busy with just the Analog and playing Chrono Trigger and a bunch of other older games. I guess it's television, but the World Cup. Has been a big.
And we went to a bar to watch a game yesterday.
Yeah, great bar.
They love us there.
Absolutely hated our guts.
It was 10 in the morning. It was 10 in the morning. I understand.
But yeah, so that was a thing that we did yesterday, was actually go to a bar and watch the game, and it was a disappointing loss. But other than that, like I've been watching basically every day. I'm watching, every game. So that's been a lot of hours of TV watching, but that's been something that's been exciting. It kind of transformed my Thanksgiving experience, where Thanksgiving, at least with my family, like it's I don't know if dominated is the right word, but there's definitely a lot of football, American football. Yeah, there's definitely, it's a big like American football family, and there's a lot of focus and attention on the games that are being played around Thanksgiving, and I don't really care about that. So for me, like this was a cool experience where I'm like, oh, it's my sport this year. Like it's my turn for Thanksgiving sports experience. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, good. Got lucky that it's too hot in Qatar.
Yeah. It'll never happen again in my lifetime. So I'm glad. I'm glad all right. Was able to do that once.
All right. The last thing I did want to mention was, like I said earlier, I did watch Black Adam. I liked the movie. It wasn't cinematic history or anything like that. And I like that The Rock is like really, really into the role, that he himself thinks he's Black Adam, which is great. You gotta have the passion for it. Especially with like all the Marvel cookie cutter movies. But yeah, I found that very funny that they had a different man's body with The Rock's head in it. And if you ever see the movie, or if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. And it's hilarious, the most hilarious thing you will ever see.
Is this like when Chris Evans, with the first Captain America movie, where they superimposed Chris Evans's head on like a little...
Yeah, but it's more ridiculous because you know how buff The Rock is. And you're like, what the hell?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because they were showing, how when they say Shazam or whatever, they get the buff and they get buff. So with that one, they're like, we can't have The Rock already be buff. We need him to be some scrawny old man. So that was pretty funny.
Okay.
But I think they did the Justice Society pretty good. Hawkman is pretty good. Dr. Fate's pretty good. I think they did a good job. And I like that they're showing these other superheroes, anti-heroes, or whatever in the DC universe, especially because they have a much wider range of characters, I think, and in the movies, in the shows, and all that stuff. it's good to see different characters than the usual top 10 or whatever it is. So, all right, that was a pretty good episode, pretty long episode. Like
Great
I said,
episode.
another great week, another great episode come and gone. But thanks for joining us. Keep up the support so we can be higher up in next year's wrap.
Do we want to plug the
Oh,
Game
yes.
Awards?
Yes, look at that. So much stuff, I'm forgetting things. This Thursday, December 8th, Nick and I will be co-streaming the Game Awards thanks to our good buddy Jeff Keighley, who we've never met and doesn't know us at all. But he gave us the okay to stream the Game Awards. So on Thursday, December 8th, we will be co-streaming the Game Awards. So please join us. We'll shoot out the link on Twitter and we'll shoot out the link on Discord. Come join us, see what we got wrong. We'll have a tally of all our predictions, and then you can laugh at us when we're wrong. And also, we will be doing the drawing for the people that will be getting the shirts. We're giving away 5 shirts, so make sure you're in there supporting the channel. And thanks for supporting the channel all the time.
That's right.
Any last words? You want to say anything?
This will be on Twitch, right? We're streaming
Yes.
on Twitch? Okay.
Twitch, Pressing Buttons GG. It's in our website, www.pressingbuttons.gg. It's everywhere. Come on Discord. Come join us.
Okay.
Come have fun.
That's it.
And that's it. That's it for episode. Where are we? I don't even know what episode we're at. 44, baby. So many episodes, man. So many episodes.
A lot.
Yeah. Thank you, Spotify. We're that good. But yeah, all right. That's it. I'm rambling. Thank you. Good night. Have a great day. I'm Hugo. Bye.
I'm Nick. Later.